Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Okay, whatever. We had worse. Live from Park City, Utah. Bezer Hashem, the final shir for this series. Tomorrow morning, Monday morning, early morning, we're off to Chicago, catching a connecting flight to Germany from there to Eretz Yisrael. So it's another like a 30-hour trip back to Eretz Yisrael. But Bezer Hashem should be back in Eretz Yisrael on Tuesday. It's been a few wonderful days here from the headquarters of the Jewish Collective, Park City Jewish Collective. Unbelievable what goes on here. You have to see what goes on here during the day. The amount of kiruv that goes on in this house, in this unbelievable. We have with us a few guests. First of all, I got to say Shalom Aleichem. Mark Ashkenazi flew in special for the shir. Not only does he help us out with all the tech behind the scenes, what's all that noise I hear coming through? He's not used to it because he's here live. So Yishkoyach Mark Ashkenazi coming from Phoenix just to say hello to me for a few hours. Stop over to, from here you go off to where? It's like a two. Wow, you made it, even though his son is sick. Unbelievable. Okay. So everybody, we're going to introduce some people here. First of all, Shalom, what's your name? Tell everybody your name. You.
Me, Av Roden.
Av Roden from?
North
Woodmere. Originally from like Dallas, yeah.
Remember,
and we have Yoel. What's your last name, Yoel? Sontag. So Sontag is here. And what's your name? Avi Rokach. Shalom Aleichem from? Flatbush. And who's next to you? Shalom Aleichem. Your name?
Sheldon Waltuck.
Shkoyach. Thank you all for coming. All fresh faces. Every day somebody else. People ski in and ski out. They just, it's not such a big island, but okay. Here we go. Say Shalom Aleichem to 25,000 people. Hello. Okay, give all the. Huh? Yeah. I got to read you this email because yesterday I said something controversial on purpose just to push some buttons. And apparently this guy did not take well to it. And I'll explain. So his name is Meir Tesler. I'm only going to read one email today. It's not even a chizik one. It's just, sometimes I get these, it's not in the category of hate mail, but it's harsh. Over the past 20 years, I've purchased many Chelik Aleph Art Scroll Gemaras, always with the hope of staying committed to the Daf Yomi cycle. But this time, before Sanhedrin, I decided to take things seriously. I found a dedicated chavrusa, registered for the live introductory shir in Borough Park, and even bought myself a proper Gemara to bring along. The experience was electrifying. It infused me with high voltage energy. For the first time, I went ahead and bought Baba Basra Chelik Beis and Gimel, and Baruch Hashem has been going great, though not without sacrifice. I owe you tremendous hakar zatayv. I've been wanting to write to you for a while now. My lifestyle and work, I do make for a unique story that your audience would probably enjoy, especially seeing how I balance learning the daf with my partner, but I've always hesitated because I didn't want the attention. What brings me to write now, W-R-I-T, now is something else. Though I'm sure you hear this kind of feedback today from many. No, I haven't heard from a single person besides him. It's the comment you made about the Kiddush Hashem of the Gdoshim during the Shoah. With all due respect, I understand you appreciate when people react passionately and share their feelings, but this one hit differently for me. It crossed the line, and as hard as it is to say, it was the final push for me to step away from the shir. I'm sorry, but I felt it was important to be honest. You've lost one Talmud, with sincere appreciation for everything. And with that, he finishes. So I'll just say real quickly, I mentioned yesterday, I said it's going to be controversial, but Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says that the Kedoshim from the Shoah, they didn't die al Kiddush Hashem, they died, and they get a kapara for the dead, but it's not Kiddush Hashem. Kiddush Hashem means when somebody tells you to leave Yiddishkeit. Why is it jumping back at me? I'm going to put this, hold on. Okay. This is Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, and I said, this is Machlokes here. This is the sheet of Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. So I said it over, and he's mad at me, and he left the shir. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says that Kiddush Hashem means that if somebody says, become a different religion, don't believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, otherwise I'll kill you, and you say, okay, kill me, that's Kiddush Hashem. But dying because you're Jewish is not Kiddush Hashem. That's what he says. There are those who argue. But I just mentioned it. It's not my own Kiddush. It's him, but he left the shir. So if you know him, tell him to come back. I said specifically, I'm going to say something to push people's buttons, etc., etc. So I guess I pushed him the wrong button. Okay. This we showed already, Nahora. Rabbi Bernard David, I'm just going to mention this Rosh Chodesh. We do this MDYmonthly.com thing, which raises a lot of money for MDY. We have a $2 million budget. So here's another 4 people. Rabbi Bernard David, Tzvi Chap, Elazar Wallerstein, $36. Leonid Dinnerman, $36. Rabbi Bernard David, 10, and Tzvi Chap, 15. Shkoyach. And I just have to do the sponsors, and we'll jump into the daf. Very, very interesting daf today. 5 Masechta sponsors, 5 monthly sponsors, 3 daily sponsors. Let's go through them. Refuah Shelaima for Yosef Chaim Shmuel Ben Alte from his grateful family. הצלחה, Baruch, ובגשמיות. Larry Cohn in memory of Yechiel Moshe Ben Chaim who started learning Daf Yomi at age 70. You hear? It's never too late. He started at age 70. Continued for 32 years until he was nifter. For the unity of the Jewish people, by Glenn Esterson, with love and gratitude from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thank you for enriching my life with Torah. Parnasa Chodesh, Linishma Zchut Ben Moshe, Linishma Zchut Ben Yosef. Zchut, Parnasa Birevach, for Baruch, Tzvi, Nissim, Ben Shoshana, Leah. With Hakar from Anonymous. Sprinting Allen grows, Linishma the Yardzites of our fathers. Shelaima Ben Yitzchak, Isaac, Zchut Ben Baruch, Isaac Ben Tzvi. Here, Shakoin, Zchut Ben Baruch, and Refuah Shelaima for Yosef and Eitam Ben Bas Sheva Bracha. Leah Welcher, for the speedy release of Aaron Ben Hila, Esther, Gittel, Ari Rosenfeld, a frum Jew, and a participant of MDY who's been incarcerated in prison for too long. Dov Eisenberger, in honor of the Bergen Hatzalah MDYers, the monthly firefighters had their turn. Parnasa Sruli Furman, RL 245, in honor of the 10th yard of my dear father, Rav Moshe Avram Ben Osher Zelig, which we had yesterday already. I guess it's a double one. Parnasa Gavril Gruben, Refuah Shelaima for Esther Chaya Bas Miriam, Parnasa for the safe return of all the hostages, Refuah Shelaima, L'chol Chayli Yisrael. Art of the month for Zchut, for Belly and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah and job of so many, and in honor of Yosef Klein and Marcus Ashkenazi, who's sitting right here, for all the work that they do, and they do a tremendous amount of work every single day without getting paid. Shkoyach. Rabbi Isai, we're holding like 10 lines from the bottom of Mem Zayin Amud Beis. It's really a Shas sugya. It's a great sugya, and it's going to take us all the way to Amud Beis, Mem Ches Amud Beis. You know what? I'll turn this around so you guys can see a little bit what's going on here. The idea is Hazmana Milsa or Hazmana Lav Milsa. What does that mean? If somebody designates something, just by designating it, just by saying that this is designated, for instance, you take a bag and you say, this is going to be my tefillin bag, but you never put your tefillin in the bag. By saying it, does it become Kaddish? Does it have a certain Kedusha to the point where, here, let me ask you a question. Story, Maisa Shahaya. A kid calls up his father from yeshiva, says, I need some money. So his father says, if you wear tefillin, I'll send you some money. Of course I'll get tefillin. Yeah, okay. Calls him 2 days later, no, where's the money? He said, I said, if you're going to wear tefillin. He says, I am wearing tefillin. He says, I said, if you wear tefillin. Kids, what happened? The father hid some money in the kid's tefillin. And no way, you missed your flight already?
Instead of the flight.
What happened?
She said, well, it's a late flight. I said, I could totally make it.
Wow, okay. It's great to have you, Uri. Uri Kushner is in the house. So, you hear this, my story? A father tricks his son. He tells him, the son says, I want money. He says, I'll give you money if you wear your tefillin. It turns out that the father hid money in the kid's tefillin. And the kid never put on his tefillin, so he never found the money. And the father knew, because the father kept on saying, well, if you wear tefillin, I'll give you money. And the kid said, but I need money. You're allowed to do that, or you're not allowed to do that. So one of the issues would be, I'm not talking about it in a psychological thing, or is it the right thing to do to your son, checking up on him and tricking him, but are you allowed to put money in a tefillin bag? That's very problematic. So some people will say, well, tefillin are in a plastic, which are in the bag, so it's not really with the tefillin, okay? You could also say that maybe you're trying to help your son out, it's for the tefillin, for the tzarech of the tefillin maybe. Okay, different things. So we're going to touch upon some of these things today because let's say you designate a grave for a dead person. Does it become asur b'hana? Because a grave is asur b'hana. And so on and so forth. You have also the, let's say, the mantle of a Sefer Torah. Something that belongs in the Sefer. It never touched the Sefer Torah, but you designated it for the Sefer Torah. So that's called hazmana. Designating something. Is it milsa? Does it work? Or it's lav milsa? We don't care about a designation. Itmar. You have it like 10 lines from the bottom of Mem Zayin Amud Beis. Ha'oreg beged lemeis. Somebody makes tachrichim for the dead. Abaye Omar Aser. Abaye holds hazmana milsa, as we're going to see in a second. Rav Omar Mutar, you're allowed to use it. Abaye Omar Aser, you're not allowed to use it. Hazmana milsa, once you designate it, once it's for the dead, so it becomes like the dead's, and therefore it's also bahana. You guys know this, right? I mentioned this yesterday, just in case you're new here. Because I see this all the time. People go to the cemetery and they're like holding something in their hand, they put it on the matzeva. Not allowed, because the matzeva is also bahana. You can't just put your siddur down, your tehillim, on the matzeva. Anything that belongs, that's part of the dead, is also bahana. Also bahana. To designate something, let's say the Gemara doesn't discuss this, but we once had a discussion. Let's say you designate a room in your house to be a bathroom. You're building a brand new house, you're building an addition, and that area right over there is the bathroom. Does it have a halacha of a bathroom? Could you learn Torah in it? Nobody ever went to the bathroom. It's brand new. Maybe they put a toilet in there, but nobody ever used it. You allowed to learn Torah in there? That's another question. The Chazon Ish says you might be able to learn Torah now and today in the bathroom today anyway. Like today's bathroom is cleaner than 100 years ago's dining room. There's almost no germs. It's just everything it's a different type of bathroom. It's not the basic kisi that the Gemara is talking about. Okay, that's a different question. So, my time of Abaya. What's Abaya's logic? Gomar sham megla rufa. So we have Gzeir Shava. You have a word here and a word there. They're the same word. And Moshe Rabbeinu received this from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that there's a word sham. And then the Gemara always says, well, I don't know, you can't make up your own word. This was given from HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly to Moshe Rabbeinu. Just which sham did HaKadosh Baruch Hu talk about? So we have the concept of Egla Rufa. What's Egla Rufa? So here you go. Oh, did I forget to put this on last time? So Egla Rufa basically is, you can see in this picture, there's a corpse over there. They find the body between two cities. And the halacha is, even if it's very close to one city, it's obvious that one city is closer, there's still a halacha that the chachamim have to go ahead and measure. Take a measuring tape and measure which city is closest. And then they take this calf and they bring it down into the riverbed over there, and they chop the head off. And that's because they don't know who killed this person. He's a murder victim. So this Egla Rufa becomes Asur Ba'ana. You can't have any benefit from it. You can't sell the hide. You can't do anything with it. You can't feed it to your animals. At what point does it become Asur Ba'ana? It becomes Asur Ba'ana when you decide to bring it down to this river, to the valley. Even though you didn't do the whole procedure, you didn't cut its head off. So we learn our sugya from Egla Rufa. Ma Egla Rufa b'hazmana mitasur. Just by designating this Egla Rufa, by bringing it down to the valley, it becomes Asur Bahana. Hainami b'hazmana mitasra. So too, when you weave tachrichim for the dead, they also become Asur Bahana just by weaving it for the dead, not even putting it on the dead, just weaving it. V'rava Gomar Sham Sham me'avodah zara. No. You're right, there is a Gzeir Shava called Sham Sham, but you messed it up. It's not Egla Rufa. I'm going to learn it from Avodah Zara. The what? Avodah Zara, ma Avodah Zara b'hazmana l'mitasra. Now, pay attention over here. Avodah Zara that we're referring to over here is not the Avodah Zara itself. We're talking about Mishamsha Avodah Zara. Something that helps the Avodah Zara, like the house of the Avodah Zara. So if you designate this house for Avodah Zara, it doesn't work until you actually do Avodah Zara in the house. You can't just designate it. So says Rava, just like by Avodah Zara, how do you say Mishamshim in English? The what? Not facility. I don't know. What does the article say? The accessory, okay. The accessory. I must have seen it in the art scroll. Huh? You can't be Muhammad to the art scroll. I need an art scroll for the art scroll. But yeah, the accessory, the mishamish, it helps the Avodah Zarah, the house of the Avodah Zarah. So Rava says, I learned from Avodah Zarah. Abai says, I learned from Egel Arufa. If you learn from Egel Arufa, designation works. If you learn from Avodah Zarah, designation doesn't work. Avachanami, so too by Tachrichim, Bazmanu loy mitasr, doesn't work. Rava asked Gemara, my time Gomer Egel Arufa. What do you learn from Egel Arufa that designation should work? Amalach, top of Memches Amud Aleph, Mishamshim and Mishamshim Gamrina. So you remember, your first daf in Shas was Sanhedrin daf, Mayach, Cham. That's it. So you're going to go around the Ferris wheel. You're going to get off at Sanhedrin daf Memches. That's your Siyum Shas. B'ez Hashem every day. Here in Park City. You know what? When you make a Siyum Shas in Park City, we're all going to fly in, including Yoel. B'ez Hashem. Don't say that because I said that. Hello, Rayleigh, you want to come learn some Torah? Come. Because I said that if we finish us together, we're going to go on a cruise, and now the Olam is holding me to it. Like, when's the cruise? Where's the cruise? 7 years goes like this. Come. Okay, say hello to everybody. This is her Makom Kavua. In the morning, she gets up sometimes 6 o'clock, 5:30. She comes down here for 2 minutes. And then she disappears. Look, you see yourself? Great. We're talking about tachrichim. What's tachrichim? Tachrichim is not the dead person himself. It's the accessory to the dead person. The egla rufa is the thing itself. When we're talking about Avodah Zarah, it's the accessory to the Avodah Zarah. It's the house of the Avodah Zarah. V'abaya, my time Avodah Zarah. Yeah, okay. Okay? Say bye-bye. No? You want to stay with Zaidi? You like learning Torah with Zaidi? Yeah. Do you learn Torah with Zaidi every day? Yeah. Yeah? It's good? How do you learn Torah? Like this? Yeah. What? Oh, yeah. It has to be l'chayr, yeah. L'chayr, we're going to see. It seems like it's for a specific place. Yeah. Yeah. No. So, yeah. Let's see. We're going to see it's a good point that you bring up, and we'll see soon. I'm going to touch that point. So says the Gemara, Abai my time Avodah Zarah. Abai doesn't like the Avodah Zarah. Why? I want to learn something that you're permitted to do. You're allowed to do an egla arufa. You're supposed to do an egla arufa. You're supposed to make tachrichim for dead people, but you're not supposed to make Avodah Zarah. And Rashi sticks in another nekuda here that because it's also for you to do, then it's possible you're going to regret it. You're going to take it back because you weren't supposed to do it. So it's not a designation doesn't mean anything. Let's say one day you have a big Eight Sahara for Avodah Zarah. You say, I'm designated. You have this big taiva today for Avodah Zarah. You say, I'm going to designate this big building for Avodah Zarah. But tomorrow you came to your senses and you realize what you did is wrong, so you're going to take it back. So your whole designation is not a real designation because it's the wrong thing to do. So Zabai, I don't want to learn something from something that's wrong. I want to learn something that's positive. Okay. Now we Geshmak is Sugi. We're going to fly through different. I didn't count how many, but it goes all through the Amud Aleph into Amud Beis, and then we have Agadata on Amud Beis. Geshmak is stuff. Simin, Kafa, Navshe, Dechatziva, Nechisa, Du'umana. These are all the names of. So it seems like just from this, it seems like there's only 5, but I think it's much more than 5. Meisvei, Kipa Shutome Medris, Venetanatu L'Sefer. Oh, so everybody came on a perfect day. Because everybody that's part of MDY for a little while knows this chart by heart. And today, our great artist, Yoshi, he said, I got to redo this one. So I said, okay, but make sure that you keep the original flavor. That because a lot of people are used to this, I don't want to confuse people. So basically, he used the same ideas and the same... This is super, super simple. And a lot of people that don't do daf, they have no idea, they have no clue. I wish every yeshiva bachur would know this. It's very, very simple. This is Tum and Taira. This is not all of it, but this is the main part of it. And basically what you have here is it starts from the most severe, and each one goes down one level. The worst is a dead person. He's called Avi Avos HaTuma. Then you have another level called Avatuma. So if a human being, if a live person that works in the Chaver Kedisha, you go to a funeral and you touch the dead person, you touch Avi Avos HaTuma, you become one level below that. You become a Avatuma. And if an Avatuma touches a person or a vessel, it becomes one level below that. It becomes what? A Rishon. And if a Rishon touches something else, that thing becomes a Sheni. And if the Sheni touches something else, it becomes a Shlishi, then a Revi. It really almost doesn't ever get to a Revi, but there's something, a far-fetched thing called Kachim, and the really far-fetched thing is called Paraduma. We'll almost never see that. What's important to us is right, just the two top things, the three top things for this sugya. It's super, super simple. It's only 5 lines and we move on. So what happens is, here, check this out. This is Givaldik. When you have a Zava or a Nida, let's call it a Zava, just to make it easy. If the Zava, she sits on a mattress, and it's a pile of mattresses, that let's say there's 10 mattresses, her Tuma goes right through everything. That's called Tame Medras. Take a look, see how they all become red, Tame, and they're all Avatuma, just like her. She's an Avatuma. Avi Avos HaTuma, the top level, that's a dead person. Avatuma, she's a Zava, she emits Tuma, just like a Zav. Zav also, but a Zav is slightly different here. I'll show you a Zav. He comes in on the side. Anything on top of her, all these hats she wears are only a Rishon, the Zav is a little different. That's not important to our sugya. He's with her, so he gets her Tuma, he becomes Avatuma, fine. But that's not what we're talking about. All we're talking about is, let's say she has a scarf. She takes her scarf, folds it up, and sits on it. That scarf becomes Tomei Medras, becomes a Avatuma. Why? Because anything that you sit on, like a chair, a mattress, a couch, and sometimes even a garment that you fold and you put underneath you, that also is something that you sit on, so that receives the same Tuma as hers, they become an Avatuma. Now what happened in this case is, she sat on this scarf, and it's Avatuma. And then she said, you know what? I don't know if you've ever been to a Sephardi shul. They take these scarves and they throw it on the Torah. Yeah? You ever seen these like little decorative scarves? You've seen that? Okay. What is it? What do you say? Sheer, whatever you want to call it. Silk, whatever. Yeah, so she says, you know what? This scarf, I want it for a Sefer Torah. So what did she just do? She just said, I'm no longer using it to sit on. I want this for a Sefer Torah. As soon as she says that, this scarf is no longer Tomei Medras. It loses its Tuma of Medras because it's no longer a chair. This Tuma could only live in a chair, in a mattress, in a couch. When you take a couch and you break it down, it's no longer a couch. It loses its Tuma. So when you take this scarf and you break it down, you say, I'm not using it as a chair anymore. I'm using it for Sefer Torah. It loses its Tuma of Medras. But what's interesting is it's still Tomei. Why? Because it itself, when it was Medras, it touched itself. And it went one step lower. Okay, so it became a Rishon. It goes from, if we go back to our chart, this chart right over here, what happens when an Avatuma, the second level, Avatuma touches something else, it becomes a Rishon. So this scarf touched itself, so it became a Rishon. Great. The point of the Gemara is, before we get confused and we go to sleep here, because a lot of guys have trauma when they hear Tum and Tara, right? It's super simple, actually. But we're not going into a sugi of Tum and Tara now. We just mentioned it and we're moving on to the next sugi. But what's the point there? She said that she's going to make it for a Sefer Torah. She never gave it to the Sefer Torah. She said it. What is that called? Hazmana. That's to designate something for a Sefer Torah. And over here you see that designation works because it removed the Tumah. As soon as she designated it for Sefer Torah, the Tumah fell off. Boom. So you see that Abai is right, that Hazmana is milsa. Hazmana works. Huh? She wanted, no. Oh. Okay, so that's the Gemara's answer. The Gemara understood that it says mana. She gave it, but it doesn't say she put it on it. She gave it. She gave it to the shul. It was never on the Sefer Torah. The Gemara, in fact, has to add the word. So the Gemara says, Ema, Yeah, did I skip anything? Torah medrash avtamim magu medrash. Okay, it has a little bit tumah to it. It loses its main tumah of avatumah. It becomes a rishon. So the Gemara says, you see that as mana milsa? No, ema netanatu v'karachtu. Not only did she give it to the shul or whatever, but she also wrapped it around the Sefer Torah. So now there's an action, there's a maisa. The maisa plus hazmana, obviously it becomes something else. As Gemara, lamali netanatu ukarachtu. Then if she already wrapped it on the Sefer Torah, why do you need hazmana? Interesting that they say that Napoleon, he once was saved by a Jew, and as a gift, he gave a Jew his coat. The Jew took the coat and he made it a paroiches for Aron Kodesh, and then it ended up in the churva, and from the churva, it's now in a museum in Haifa. This is it. Say this is his coat. So I'm just saying, the guy takes a coat, Napoleon's coat, and he gives it as a sefer. He gives it for a paroiches. So here it actually looks like, to me, it looks like a cover for a Sefer Torah, but okay. I don't know what it is. So, Zog the Gemara, why do you have to do both? Why do you have to do hazmana? If you already did it, you took action, you gave it for Sefer Torah, that should be enough. So the Gemara, it's not enough. The Rav Chizda says you always need two things. You need hazmana, you need to designate, plus you have to take action. If you do one or the other, it's not enough. The Amar Rav Chizda, Hai Sudru the Azmani Lemeitza Beit Tefillin, when you have a bag for tefillin, v'tzar beit tefillin, and you put tefillin in there, also Lemeitza Beit Pshita, you're not allowed to put money in there. Azmani v'lei tzar beit v'lei azmani, what if you did one or the other? You did a designation, but you didn't put the tefillin in there. You said, I'm going to sell this in the store for tefillin. Or, tzar beit v'lei azmani. He put the tefillin in there, but he never designated it. Why would that not work? Because maybe he did it a one-time thing. He needed a place to put his tefillin for that moment. Doesn't mean that he wants it for tefillin. It doesn't work. It's not a real tefillin bag, and you're permitted to put money in there. Okay, so therefore you need both. You need nasanatu and karachtu. Okay. Well, but according to the Bible, it says that it's enough just to designate azmani tzarbe in. In other words, the main thing is, according to Abaya, to designate. If you designate, great. Just putting tefillin there is not enough. Okay. Zog the Gemara Tashma. Nefesh shebenoi l'shem chai mutar bana. So this would be a nefesh. I found a great one because this is a Jewish one. See this? Mm-hmm. Okay, you got it. Take a look at this. I mean, just the doors here, unbelievable. If anybody appreciates woodwork and all that stuff and metal work with the Magen David, I mean, I don't know what this thing costs, but it must not be cheap, no? Mausoleum, whatever they call it. So you build this building for a live person. Okay, he's designing this when he's alive, or somebody designed it for him. Mutabana, this is not for the dead; it's for the live, for the living. If he added one row of stones, l'shemeis, for somebody that already died, osbana, has to be for a specific dead, osbana. So you see that as mana milsa, just by adding a row of stones, that itself is enough to make it osbana. Now you didn't put a dead person in there; you just said it's for the dead person. Oh, hazmana, you designated it becomes awesome. The Roman ben Mace. No. You have to say that we're talking about he put a dead person. If you put a dead person in there, then why do you have to add a row of stones? Just by putting the dead person in there, it should also make the whole place awesome. You remove the dead person. So basically what the Gemara is saying is, says Rashi, if you did a hazmana, you designated it, and then you added a row of stones, and you remove the guy, then it's also bana. But if you didn't add the row of stones and you remove the dead person, then it's mutar bana. Why? Because it's similar. It's very interesting. I'm not 100% clear exactly how this works, but it's similar to tefillin, where you need the designation and the tefillin to go in there in order for it to be asur. Over here, And once you remove the tefillin, it's okay. Once you remove the dead person, it's okay. Amar Rav from Bar Papa. Bar Papa Amar Rav Chizda. If you know where the stones that you added for this dead person, you could just remove the stones and then it becomes mutter. My difficulty is how does it line up with the sugi that we had the other day, that once you put a dead person in the grave, then the whole thing becomes, it doesn't never mention anything about designation. You put the dead person, you have permission to put the dead person in there, then the whole thing becomes usher forever. Over here, it seems like you could remove that isser if you know the type of the stone that was designated specifically for this dead person. Tashma. What? Who's that? What is that? What sefer is that? You have that? Oh, okay.
I asked him a name, he has an answer, Yosef, that person. Says
he brings the sugi before? Okay, Givaldik. Okay. Thank you. I don't have time to look through everything, although I would love to. Omer Rav Chizda. I barely get through some places. Tashma. If a person, now they're going to say, I cheat. First I took from the art scroll the word accessory. Then I took from the Mesifta. What? Plagiarizing. A person digs a grave for his own father. You see where this is going. Because he dug a grave for his father. What is that? That's hazmana. He never buried his father. And he never ended up using this cave. He buried him somewhere else. The son is not allowed to be buried there forever. So you see, hazmana milsa, designation works. Nothing to do with designation, has to do with kibbud avei. Very interesting, just a Zahara. What's a greater mitzvah? To be mechabed a father when he's alive, or to be mechabed a father when he's dead? Huh? What do you say? Says the Ramban, what? For sure. So the Ramban says different. I'm only here to push buttons, I'm telling you. I told you before. The Ramban says that it's a greater mitzvah to be mechabed your father after he's dead, because when he's alive, you're doing it out of yira. There's a certain element of yira, not because you absolutely are, but it's possible. You're doing it out of fear and out of Yerusha. You want to make sure that you stay. That's what he says. Okay, there's a little truth. But after his death, you don't care about him anymore. And Alpha PK, you're doing it. I know. It's interesting. I would also say like you.
This is here for if somebody buys a chelka and it's kind of the same idea, or it means actual. If you buy a chelka and Har Zaysim, and your father says I'm Har Zaysim, so that's also almost the Har Zaysim.
I don't know.
So that's what it means to buy it here, or to dig the actual.
I hear. I don't know. Good kashas. All good kashas. He bought. It could be. It's similar like to sitting in your father's seat. This is the father's grave. You don't go in your father's grave. It's very possible it's also. If you would ask me, I would say it's the same thing, but I have no idea. Oh, sorry. And I'll prove it to you. The Tony Seif, it says at the end, it's the same thing that we said before, that you dig at a cave for your father, you should not be buried there forever. He says, even when we're talking about tachrichim, making tachrichim is one thing. But what about making the thread to make tachrichim? That's 3 steps removed, or 2 steps removed. Nobody would say that in the factory that makes the thread for the tachrichim, that's also bana. So over here, we're talking about, what's the difference? Over here, we're talking about stones. You went and cut stones out of a mountain to build whatever you need to do, the daifik, the goilo, whatever you're doing with those stones, to build this guy that we had. But that's 2 steps removed. So obviously the reason why it's also is because of kibbud avei and not because of azmana. Tashma, kever chodosh mudabana. So over here, this is what I said, that we're going to touch your nikuda. Over here is talking about specifically for a certain mace. You had a certain mace in mind. So you dug out a brand new grave, mutabana, hit the boy nefel, but once you put in even a nefel, so stillborn, also bana, then it's also bana. But as the Gemara, hittel in, like hittel light, it's dafka once you put the nefel in there. And Memelo, you see, Hazmana lav milsa. Says Gemara, who adin avagav delohittel? No. So what the Gemara is answering is, basically, on a simple way, that we're not dealing with Hazmana and yes Hazmana, not Hazmana. This is a completely different brisa. The brisa is coming to tell us a different chiddush. The brisa is coming to tell us when does a caver become asur? Not with Hazmana, not Hazmana. Does a stillborn make a caver asur? So that's a different question. Sorry, who adin avagav delohittel? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds that a nefel doesn't cause an isur to a caver at all. Kamashmon that we say that the only thing he's coming to say is that a nefel, a stillborn, creates a isur hana to a caver. Tashma, moisar mesim lemesim. A guy collects money for tzedakah to bury the dead. He doesn't say which dead, what dead. The dead, general dead, and he has leftover money. I'd never heard of such a case in my life. Collect money, and all of a sudden you have extra money. Did it ever happen? Never. But in this case, it happened. You know, a guy came over to me in Ramat Bet Shemesh. He said that his son had the machla, and his son was nifter. And some guy opened up like one of these charity things. What are they called? The raisins, whatever. And raised a tremendous amount of money for him. He had a tremendous הכרת to him. And then the guy took all the money and didn't give him $1. And then I heard the story afterwards from a number of people that they raise the money and sometimes they give the family, they give 10% because they have to take a cut. Look, they worked hard. They put the website together. So the cut, what's their cut? 80, 90%. And they give the family 10%. So no, there's extra. Yeah, sometimes there's left over for the guy that made the website or whatever. You got to be careful where you give to, and if Chas V'Shalom somebody's in a situation like that, who's doing it has to be like the right people. But anyway, what if there's extra money? Moisar hameis liyarshav. If there's, Moisar mesim lemesim. If there's leftover money from when you collected from many dead people and there's leftover money, that goes to other dead people. Moisar hameis, but if you collected specifically for one individual dead person, then that goes to the yarsha. The question is, if designation, if azmana milsa, if designation. Yeah? What does designation do? If designation makes it asur, it's real, azmana milsa, then how can you give the money to the yarshim? To the dead person. Build him a giant grave. Use it all. Bring a choir and a thing. Pay Reb Y. Jacobson $20,000 to come and give a crazy husband. That's what you have to do. What are you going to do? There's nothing else you can do with the money. Because they inherit him. The money goes. It's like it goes to the dead person, and they inherit the dead person. We're going to see. The Gemara kind of talks about that. Taisus asks a different question here. Isn't money like 3 steps removed? Why is money different than the thread that you thread the tachrichim? Okay, so he says, no, money is different because money can buy anything. It's like immediate. It's the tachrichim itself. It's like the matzeva itself. It's everything. Money is like, it's right there. It's liquid. Okay, something like that. So anyways, you know why there's no isra on this money? Because they collected it when the guy was alive still. They were making announcements. Pliny is already 119 years old. He's hitting 120 soon. He doesn't have a dime to pay for his caver. We got to make a collection. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but that's what they did. And therefore, the money doesn't become asur. So you have to leave already? When are you leaving? Oy vey, wow, how did it become 40 minutes so fast? Says Gemara, but wait a minute. The extra money that you collect for many goes to the other mason. If you just made some sort of collection, you didn't say specifically to who. But if you said specifically, I want to bury this guy, but it says mufurish that the guy's dead. Gavu limeis. It doesn't say gavu l'chai. They collected for a dead person. So don't tell me we're talking about they collected for a live person. Says the Gemara, I'll prove to you from the end that Azman is milsa. Why? Because it says Remeir doesn't know what to do over here. Is the dead person? It's the Yarshim. What do I do with it? Make a giant cave here. Uri, you asked me what to do with the money here. Do one of these. I'm sure this is no less than $500,000 to $1 million. What does this thing cost?
But this is usually for an entire family.
Depends how big of a guy, how much of an ego he has. Look at this with the Magen David, the whole thing. This is nuts. This is like pure lime. Okay, anyway, flowing in from Italy, the whole thing. You want to spend the money. Take a bunch of wine, like heavy bottles, $1,000 bottles, and pour it right in front of the door as it's going by. So what do you see? You see that as Zman and Milsa, the Yarshim can't touch this money. This money belongs to the dead. So it goes both ways from the same price. You go either way. Each one can answer the way he wants to fit it in, to fit his shita. Abaye holds that the whole thing could be explained like his shita, the kuli alma hazmana milsi. Everybody holds that hazmana milsa, the designation works. Tanakama sovar the chazile tofis. Whatever you could use for the dead person grabs. That's what Uri is saying. There's nothing what to do with the money, so he's not going to grab it. If he can't grab it, so what do you do? So you give it to the Yarshim. Remeir doesn't know exactly if the dead person grabs it all or not. The Yarshim can't take it because it might be the dead person's. According to Rav Nosson, certainly the dead person grabbed it all. Then there's no Eitzah, since it's the dead person's. You should build a beautiful mausoleum on his caver. And Rav is going to say the entire thing goes according to my shita, that designation is nothing. Tanakama Sovar. Ki bazule. You're mevayish the dead person. You're running around the street begging for money to bury him. That's a big busha for the dead person. He's Michael that busha, just take the money, wants his Yarshim to have the money. So there's a big question here whether or not, according to Rava, did the Yarshim get anything at all? Rameir has a suffix, is the dead person Michael, his covet to give the money? I don't know if he's Michael, therefore the Yarshim shouldn't get it, or just it's in limbo until the Yar Navi comes. No way, the dead person doesn't want to give it to his Yarshim, he's not Michael. Fine. Next one. I don't like this picture so much, but I'll show it. He worked on it. Here, a mouse died, and the parents are throwing all these begadim on top of the arn. Okay, that's just to make light of the sugya, because it's a very sad sugya. It's a father and mother that are in tremendous pain, and they don't know what to do with themselves. They lost their mind. They take valuable stuff and throw it on top of their dead son, in pain and anguish. But they're losing money here. Tomorrow they'll wake up and they have nothing left. So mitzvah la'acherim la'atzilon, there's a mitzvah to do hashavas aveda. That's hashavas aveda, to save somebody's money. How could somebody save it? If you hold azmana milsa, then there's nothing to save. It's done. It's finished. It's toast. What are you saving? You can only save something if hazmana lav milsa. Daf Yomi Beis. So there's a chiddush here that since these parents are so bitter, they're in such a bad state of mind that what they're doing is not considered as hazmana at all. It's not a designation, and therefore you could go ahead and save it. And therefore it makes sense. It's only talking about when it never touched the bed, the aron. In other words, they used to bury the person with the actual bed. There's a certain bed that they would bury him. So the first bed that he died on, that's not what we're talking about. But the actual bed that they buried the person with, then once the beggar touches it, it's all over. And we're talking about this bed that you bury the person with. And the reason is because you might confuse those clothing with the tachrichim. People say, oh, you're allowed to use tachrichim, you're not allowed to use tachrichim. Turning over the daf, Shvat, Innovation LLC, in honor of Cohn President officials, Chus Vakiv Simcha Ben Feiga, a shidduch for Rivka Yunus Bas Yavachaya. You would appreciate this. He keeps on telling me, I heard him telling my wife, he says, I think somebody wants me to marry this girl. He keeps on saying, I give Simcha Feiga shidduch for Rivka Yunus Bas Yavachaya together. He says it fast. And thank you for the reference to Stefansky. I said, no, it's just the way I read it. Adar Global, experts in international financial services, anonymous, Zchut Refuah Satino, Yechiel Moshe Ben Chaim, Sheindol. Toshma. Kisha so laniach by tefillin. He made a pouch for his tefillin, a tefillin bag. Also laniach by mois. I just saw for the very first time here in Park City. I wish I remember who the kid was. He had a very nice bag. There's a lot of kids with nice bags these days. No, they're spending good, like $500-$600 per tefillin. You know, but we used to have that velvet stuff that had our name with 2 Teitelbaum trees, like today the lion and this. Today it's like a whole different. So this kid, he opens up his tefillin bag. I never saw it before, and he puts a siddur in another zipper. He had a little pouch in his tefillin bag with its own special zipper to keep it separate. It's gewaldig. Yeah, mamish what we're talking about over here. Also, why? Because hazmana milsa, designating this whole bag, the tefillin bag, is a designation, and therefore it's usher for you to put money in there or a siddur. And people put money for tzedakah, that
pouch is also for the tzedakah.
For tzedakah, okay. Now by tefillin, if he put tefillin in this bag, and this bag was not, Rabbi Isai, this is important. If you have a pencil, write it in. This bag was not made for tefillin. He found the bag, he put his tefillin in there. Then you're allowed to put money in there. Oh, so what do you see? Hazmana milsa. That once you decide to make this bag for tefillin, you're not allowed to put money in there. Says Gemara, he did 2 things. Not only did he make a designation, but he also put the tefillin there. Then it's also then you're not allowed to put money in there. Rav Chizda, like we said, Rav Chizda, that according to Rav Chizda, you need 2 things going. You need a designation, plus you need an action. Tashma. We're not tiksha tefillin. Give me a pouch for sefer Torah, make a mantle for sefer Torah, or not tiksha tefillin, or a tefillin bag. Actually, what do you see over here? Hazmana lav milsa, because it says that if you made this tefillin bag, as long as you didn't put the tefillin in there, you're permitted to use it for whatever you want. Once you used it, okay, then you're not allowed to use chol. But you see that hazmana lav milsa. Says the Gemara, okay, I give in. You're right. You know what? It's not just a machlokes Abaye and Rava. If hazmana milsa Tanoi, it's in fact the old machlokes of Tanoim, the Sanya Tzipun Zov. If you have tefillin, I like this picture. It's schmack. Fits right into. You see his sidders upside down. Oh yeah, I don't want to go into too many details, but because we have all sorts of people from all over that are watching. I just read an email yesterday. When was it? Yesterday, the day before? Conservative guy says, I'm in 2 canoes. Was that yesterday? He says, I do the daf and this. So there's all sorts of. Matzah Shabbos was yesterday. Okay, I don't know where I am, but that was yesterday. Huh? Not listen on Shabbos. They could everybody's listening. Everybody. We have Hasidic ladies that wrote in. We have it's gewaldig. Anyway, Shiva Bachem, people going on the derech, off the derech, all types. The Sanya, we have a guy that wrote in gave in a beautiful video for Hidabrut. There's a big Israeli, it's a kiruv, or massive, they have tens of thousands of viewers. What? TV station. So my shir, the Hebrew shir, is on that TV station, and what pushed them to do it is because I talk in a yeshiva Hebrew. Like, I don't say taf and this and that. Like a lot of Israelis, maybe even most Israelis, learn Gemara with Sephardi Havara. But the Chevra that started the shir, they wanted me to do the yeshiva Havara, which I'm used to anyway. So they weren't sure they want the shir. So this guy, he's a CEO of a big company in Eretz Yisrael. He does not wear a yarmulke, And he sends an video. He says, "Listen, I love the shir. I've been watching it for months. It's so beautiful, and this and that, without a yarmulke." And he watches every day without it, no problem. It's normal. Tanoi, the sanya, tzipon zav. You take tefillin and you cover your tefillin with gold. Or use non-kosher animal hide. Psulois. It's halacha l'mishmer that it's possible. Interesting. I have to ask the people that are involved, but I have a feeling that a lot of these beautiful talisim bags are not made from kosher animals. I've seen like snake skin and this skin, different. That's just the bag. I don't think that it's such a big problem, but I don't know. It's filling with a tummy animal. Somebody once told me that he's almost sure that some of it is made out of PIG skin. Because it's a different type. I don't know. But I saw some crazy stuff, some beautiful, you could do shark skin and this, and 80 on YouTube. Very nice. You're able to show that over here? No. Cool. Shalom Aleichem guys on YouTube. I never have a chance to really talk to them. Here, said hello to them. How do we see them? You can't see them. YouTube. Yeah, it's not Zoom. We don't have Zoom today, huh? All right, so now that we only have 9 minutes, that's enough for the summit. Okay, it's coming up. We're coming up to Haggadah. Or behema tahira ksheros. If you make a bias, the place where you put the parshias in out of the hide of a kosher animal, kosher, because that's how you're supposed to make tefillin. But the point is, afal pi sheli ibn lishma, even though you didn't have good intent while you were what's the word I'm looking for? How do you say ma'abed? To tan the hides.
Avrumi Abowitz.
Yeah.
Works by Keter, and he said it's cow skin.
What?
And then they
everything?
Most of it.
That's what he's saying. Oh, he's saying now live.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That is, so it's not true. So there isn't. So I'm right that it should not be from a Tmeya. But I know for a fact the certain person is very related to me, and I actually paid for it. It's not made out of cow skin. It's made out of something tummy.
So when you buy it from Keter, you're getting it from a cow.
You get the hechsher, the badatz, the whole thing. Great. My tefillin, it's over there. I think that's from Keter. Now, because but here's a little bit of a shtick in what the Gemara is saying here. That you have to see Rashi for this. That what the Gemara is saying is that even though you didn't tan it l'shma, it's still kosher. Why? Because even if you did tan it l'shma, it's not going to work. It's not going to help you to be mekadesh it. Why? Because we hold like Rava that has monolav milsa. So even tanning it l'shma, when you have, it's not going to make it kaddish. Shmuel says no. Even kosher hide from a kosher animal is possible. You need to do that step l'shma. So this is a super interesting question, which I have an issue with. And I'll tell you what my issue is. Ravina asks Rava, why are you arguing with Abaya on something that's impossible? It's like, if it's Nagel Maisa, argue. Why are you arguing something that's not Nagel Maisa? So what's the answer? Rabbi said, why would you answer such a question? He's asking, why are you arguing about something that's not Nagel Maisa? The what? Who's going, in those days, to make tachrichim took a month. Each thread, you have to go up and down and in and out. You see these ladies crocheting, they do like a towels bag, talking about a tefillin bag. So they do a tefillin bag for their anikel. It takes them 2 years. Every day they go and they sit there in the bungalow colony like this. You're going to make tachrichim. You can't start when the guy dies. If you're going to start when the guy dies, it's going to be halonas hameis. So my question on this question is, most of Shas, not most of, half of Shas is questions not Nagel Maisa. When I was a guy who's mekadesh 10 women and ask me a question, it's Nagel Maisa. But more than that, look, it is Nagel Maisa. Bisman hazeh. Today I can make tachrichim in 2.5 minutes. I'll give you tachrichim. I'll push one button, comes out. So I have to argue about it. Okay, I don't know. Maybe the bottom over there. Yes, the kasha. Check it out. No, it's such a dumb kasha that nobody said
The
it.
concept of buying the kever, people also buy the tachrichim.
When we grew up,
Before.
everyone had the tachrichim.
Yeah, they buy
wore
it.
them-
Yeah, I know. My grandmother, I remember she bought tachrichim. Yeah.
They wear them in kippur.
Oy! That's
Sure.
it's one thing to do to yourself, but why does everybody else have to suffer? Think about dead people the whole Yom Kippur. Omerlei in. No, my question, our fight is Negela Maisi. You know why? You're going Shichvi the Har Panya. The dead people of our Panya, they're so poor that they only started making the Chrichim after the guy died, but they do it like a really low quality, very, very shvacha stuff that they were able to do in one day. So it's actually Negela Maisa. If Hazmana Milsa, Lav Milsa. Darsh Merema. Says Merema, Ilchas Kavasei da Abayad Allah is Hazmana Milsa. V'Rabbanan Amri Ilchas Kavasei da Rava, that what Hazmana Lav Milsa. So if Rabbanan and Merema are going to argue who's going to win, Rabbanan. And therefore, Vilchas Kavasei the Rava, and the halacha is that Hazmana Lav Milsa designation is nothing. Oh, so here goes, we have a little agata. When the king kills someone, let's say somebody's Moir Bermalchus, he cursed the king, so the king takes him, chops his head off. All his belongings, the $20 million this guy has in the bank, goes directly to the king. Not only did he lose his head, he loses all his money. Harugi Bezdin, but if Bezdin kills somebody, let's say they do steal somebody's B'chal Shabbos, then it doesn't go to anyone, it goes to the Yarshim. Rabbi Yehuda argues, and he says that when a king kills somebody, he doesn't get the money, he goes to the Yarshim. So now we're going to bring a few proofs here. So this is the crazy story of Achav. Achav was a king, and he wanted a vineyard, and he goes to the owner of the vineyard, Navais. He says, Navais, give me your vineyard, tell me your vineyard. He says, absolutely not. So Izevel, his wife, comes up with a crazy plan that we're going to pretend that Navais is Chayiv Misa, that he did something terrible to the king, he cursed the king, and we're going to chop off his head, and then we're going to take his vineyard. Baruch was very upset at him with the nevuah, the whole thing. Interesting. I just want to point out that the Yerushalmi says that the reason why Navais was Chayiv Misa is a very, very interesting thing, because he had a beautiful voice and he used to sing. This is the Yerushalmi. The Medrash talks about this. He used to sing in the Beis Hamikdash, and people would come from all over to hear him sing by the Alila Regel. They wanted to hear his beautiful voice. And one time he didn't show up, and because of that, they said we have to give this guy Misa. In other words, a person that has a talent, that he could be Mahana Da'ilam, but it's not just a talent, it's to bring people to closer to Hashem, to bring to the Beis Hamikdash, and you don't use it, it's a big problem. So look what the pasuk says. So Achav, the Rasha, he takes the vineyard, L'rishtoi. He inherited it. So what does it mean inherit it? Why did he inherit it? He inherited it because he's the king that killed somebody. When a king kills somebody, he takes his belongings. So the Gemara, no. The reason why he inherited is because he's related to him. Ben Achi Aviv Haya V'Yar L'Yarsha. I just want you to show you this clip from the Hebrew Shir in Eretz Yisrael. We were talking about like a sugya here that's similar to this, not like a Yavama sugya. Here, put on some volume. You have volume? Let's see if it works. אתה מרוקאי? חצי, אז מותר לך להגיד. עוד פעם, אז תגיד בקולי קולות איך זה עובד? תגיד עוד פעם.
אח שלי, דוד שלו, אז אבא שלו, דוד שלי, אמא שלו אמרה שאבא שלו אמר לשידור שלו.
Aviv. That's why a lot of people dropped off in Yavamas. When it came to Yavamas, people, because instead of saying a cousin, the Gemara calls him the son of the brother of the father. Cousin. My father's brother's son. That's my son, the son, brother, father. Haya. Because he was a cousin of Navais, so he was able to inherit him. As the Gemara of he had many sons. How did he inherit him? Amar lehen, Yosef is son of Harag. He killed them all. He killed all the sons, and therefore he was right to inherit him. Shenemar, im loyes the main Navais is the main bon of Risi, the blood of his sons. You see that he killed him. By the way, that the Gemara said over here in this Masechta, the Edi Sheker, I forgot the lashon, Gerayu, Zile, some. Even the people that hired these Edi Sheker, they look down on these Edi Sheker. Okay. Rabbanan said, no. He didn't kill the sons. But anytime you kill somebody, HaKadosh Baruch is going to take revenge on the potential that this person had. Navais could have had more sons had he lived. And those are the sons that are considered demei. You killed those sons. Bishleima, why did Achav say that he's such a bad person? He lied. He said that Navais cursed Hashem and the king. If it's the pshat because he wanted to inherit him, because a king inherits, that's why he's stuck in king. But if anyways, the money goes to the inheritors, why did you have to say he cursed the king? Just say he cursed Hashem. So we chop off his head, and that's it. It goes to the Yarsh. If he's married b'malchus, so just say he cursed the king. Why do you have to say and he cursed Hashem also? The answer is the point. The reason why I said he cursed both Hashem and the king is to make the dayanim that are on the case upset and say, "Oh, he definitely deserves to die." Obviously, he wanted to make them upset. That's why he used both lashonos. So what happened was David HaMelech asked Shelaima to kill Yoav. Why? Because Yoav is going to see another sugya tomorrow that Yoav killed Avner ben Ner and Amasa ben Yeser. And also he was married ben Malchus by Shelaima. So Shelaima HaMelech wanted to kill him. So what did he do? Yoav knew that he was about to die. By Yonas Yoav, he ran away. Eloy Hashem, he went to the Beis Hamikdash, and he held onto the Mizbeach. Uchsiv, Benayo told him, get off the Mizbeach, let's go, we have to kill you. And he says, Vayomer loy eitzik yipoyamus. I want to die right over here. Now, if the pshat is that when a king, if Shlomo would have killed him, Shlomo would have inherited him, that's why he didn't want to leave. And he said, I want to die right over here, because who's in charge of the Beis Hamikdash? Who's in the Beis Hamikdash? In Lishkas HaGazes? The Sanhedrin. So it's the Sanhedrin that is going to kill him. And if the Sanhedrin kills him, then everything will go to his Yarshim. So now it makes sense. He held onto the Mizbech, I want to die here, so all my inheritance will go to my Yarshim and not to Shlomo HaMelech, who just killed me. I don't want him to get my money. But if you hold that a king doesn't get the inheritance, so then why did he hold onto the Mizbech? Says Gemara, beautiful. Do I have to stop? Because it's already an hour? Wow. But what are we going to do? Yeah, we got to do a few more lines here because it's so l'chai shah. Let me just explain what it means. Like everybody knows this, that a Jew wants to live another minute. He wanted to delay his death. He said, "Go ask Shelaima HaMelech. I don't want to die here. I want to die there." So he gained another 25 minutes until he went to Shelaima HaMelech and back. He got to live a little bit more. That's all. He wanted to gain a few more minutes. A Yid wants to live another few minutes. So Bnei Yoav ran to Shelaima HaMelech and said, "This is what Yoav said." So Yoav tells Bnei Yoav, go tell Shelaima HaMelech, you have to pick and choose. You can't do two things to me. If you want to kill me, then you have to receive upon yourself the curses. And if you don't kill me, okay. If you kill me, then you take the curses that David HaMelech cursed me. And if you don't kill me, then I'll take the curses. Do exactly what he said. In other words, I take upon myself the curses, kill him. Then everything happened, in fact, because Shelaima HaMelech took the curses upon himself. I'm not exactly sure. There's a Marsha here that explains a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why he took upon himself the curses. He could have said, no, I'm not taking the curses, I'm going to kill you anyway. No, he had to. It seems like also nothing to do with the Marsha. It just seems like Shelaima HaMelech it was important for him to do the ratzon of his father David, even though he knew he's going to suffer the consequence of these curses. As Rav says, Kol Klal should kill David. Everything like David said, it's Yoav, Niskayim V'Zara Shel David. Everything went back to David. That what it says in the pasuk. Ayikaris mebeis Yoav Zav u'Mitzayu Machzak bePelach v'Noifel b'Cher v'Chasar Lachem. We're going to explain every single word. Zav, the fact that there was a Zav in the family, Merachavim. That happened to Rechav D'Chsiv. Amel Rechav Mitzavos Lalis Merkav Lonas Yerushalayim. Uchsiv v'Chol Amerika v'Shiyikav Olav Azav Yitma. So it's sort of like a Zerushav. It's not a real Zerushav. It's not a Smachta. Says, okay, Rechavim was a Zav. So that part of the curse happened to Rechavim. Mitzayir, that your kids are going to be with Tzaras, Muziyo. Uzio. D'chsiv ubechazkasi gava liboy ad lahashkes vayimal b'Hashem elikov v'yovel leichal Hashem lahagdil al mizbach haktoires, that he wasn't even a kohen and he was doing toires and they kicked him out of there, and all of a sudden it's d'chsiv v'atzoras, and there was a piece of tzoras zorcha b'mitzchoy popped out on his forehead. No, so he got tzoras. Machzik b'pelach, who had a walking stick, meyasa also had it. D'chsiv raglei zeknos cholas raglei, he had a terrible disease in his feet. V'amar Rav Yehuda Marav shachazoi poigadra, which is gout, which is very, very painful. What does gout feel like? Like needles in the live flesh. How did Rav Nachman know what it felt like? He once had gout himself. His Rebbe told him it feels like needles in live flesh. Oh, soy da Hashem lireyav. The ones who fear Hashem, they get the secrets. They say the famous story about the Chazon Ish. He told the doctors how to do a surgery in the brain. He said that he knew everything from the Gemara. But said Hashem lireyav. The Machlokes the Rambam and Ravad, if Yerushalayim is kitchel l'shaita v'kitchel l'aslavoi, that the Kedusha was by Ezra was for that generation and for the future or not. And what's interesting is the Ravad says that it wasn't kitchel l'shaita kitchel l'aslavoi. And how do I know? Soida Hashem l'reyav, Hashem gave me the secret. And he said, the secret is because Ezra knew that eventually Yerushalayim was going to be Kaddish forever and ever, so he didn't do the Kedusha then. Should we just stop here? We'll stop here. Why not? No, you know what? Let's just finish. Once we're late, we might as well just finish. It's 3 lines. Who's going to fall on the sword? Here, we'll just throw this up here. They made his entire body like a sea, a bunch of holes. Who didn't have bread? That it seems like from Rashi that after Nebuchadnezzar, then he had bread every single day, but before that he was very, very poor. And finally, one last thing, Rav says, Rav, this is what people say. You should be the one that is cursed, and don't be the one that curses. It's very, very bad to curse somebody, because what could happen is the curse comes right back at the person that cursed, and he gets everything. It's better to be the one that's cursed. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.